I'm Matt. I'm here with Chigger. Rahway. Is that the way you say it? Rahway?
Rahway, yep, that's got it right.
Just like Rahway, New Jersey. Is that where you guys are from?
You actually have to throw the Jersey accent into it. It's Rahway. We like to give it the raw way. So,
Right, right. Yeah, I've been all over Jersey, man. I had family out there. I think they're all gone now. But yeah.
oh yeah, I can tell by your Jersey accent, definitely.
Yeah. Now I was born and raised in Ohio, man, but
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
they my aunt, I think she's the only one left. She lives in Rhode Island, and my God, when that woman talks, you can't understand her because of that.
I get that all the time. I actually spent a lot of time in New York too. So when I moved out to the South Jersey area, people don't understand me. I'm around Philadelphians all the time, so I don't really understand them either.
Right.
Everything down here is like water or like dog, and I'm like, no, it's dog, it's
Right.
chocolate. They're like, get out of here.
Oh yeah, yeah, man. I mean, it's funny because like the East Coast and I mean Jersey's like what 8 hours away, and I mean
Yeah,
the difference is night and day,
yeah.
especially
Oh,
with
absolutely.
the accent. I mean, I've had quite a few people that I talked to them on the phone. They're like, "You sound like you got a little bit of hillbilly." I'm like,
Yeah,
"I'm from
you
Columbus."
do. You do a little bit. I mean, I've been to the Cleveland area. Is that where
Okay.
you are? Yeah, yeah, I love it out there. It's nice and quiet. The
Cleveland?
parts that I was at,
Okay.
we couldn't find a homeless person within like 10 miles. We were like walking around. My wife and I, we were eating at a restaurant in Cleveland, and she had leftovers, so she's like, I want to give it to a homeless person. Because we're from New York, that's what we do.
Right.
Couldn't find a homeless person at all in Cleveland.
Oh, they're all around here in Columbus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, brother, let's get started with your band, Rahway.
Okay.
You guys just released "Carry You," new single.
Yep.
Um, Listened to it, loved it. It's kind of cool because I'm looking at your press release and I'm reading the quote here of "We grew influenced by the sounds of arena rock,"
Yep. We did.
and to me, it feels like it's a mixture of punk and arena rock.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot because I have a lot of punk roots. I grew up listening to the Sex Pistols, the Ramones, and stuff like that. But what I really grew up on was Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, the stuff that filled the arenas, and they're still doing it. Actually, they're filling stadiums now. But that's the two brothers that are in the band, Dave and Steve Cardenas. Steve's the guitar player, Steve's the drummer,
Mhm.
and Steve's the main. I'd like to say the main songwriter of the band, but we all have an input.
Right.
But we all have the same influence. And then you bring our singer Nick in, who's more of a '90s kid.
Okay.
He has more of a like Disturbed, Linkin Park type of influence.
Right.
And then he's also got like this hip hop thing that he does on the side. Um, but it makes for a great mix. And Carry You is definitely a good example of it.
Yeah, it was. I mean, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, like when it first starts out, it sounds kind of punkish, but then
Right.
the guitars kick in, and you've got that arena rock, the solo, and just the little finger tapping going on throughout the
Yeah.
song. So yeah, I'm like, man, I dig this because that's what I grew up on. I mean,
Right.
same thing. Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses. I didn't really start getting into the new metal movement. I think really, I mean, I did Disturbed's first album. I really enjoyed. Like, but I think it was Linkin Park that got me into it,
Right.
and my son, my oldest boy, man, he got me into bands like Hawthorne Heights, Under Oath, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And before I was like, man, I'm used to my screaming back in the day with like Obituary and Slayer and DF.
Right.
Now you're bringing this stuff to me, and I mean, it music is kind of it does it just like makes it constantly a full circle.
Absolutely. And I think that the way I think about the music that we're doing right now, no one's really doing it. Everyone's, if you listen to, like you said, like bands like Under Oath and Hawthorne Heights, they're all doing the same thing. They're screaming. They're
Mhm.
constantly screaming. Even back then, like you said, you brought up Slayer and those guys, they were doing the same thing, and every band was trying to copy them.
Right.
And then there was that hair metal movement where every band was trying to be Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses. Everyone, so like you said, it comes around full circle. But right now, I feel like we're in a good spot because no one's playing what we're playing. We're trying to bring it back, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and I mean that's what I'm saying. It really has a good mixture to it. And you were talking about how your singer's a '90s kid and he brings his mix into it, and you guys are kind of old school. And I mean it works good for you. I was just it was a toe tapper, man. I was kind of just like, yeah,
Yeah,
I like this.
yeah. I mean, that's what we strive for. We want to see that those heads banging, and when we see that live, we know we're doing our job. So,
Oh yeah. So it says that you guys defended your title as Slumlords of New Jersey. What does that mean?
I mean, so we were interviewed by uh, a lady from Fox one year, and she's like, give me a description of the band. I'm like, well, we're just the Slumlords of New Jersey, and she just was like, whoa, that's a pretty cool name, and she it went to print, and before you knew it, everyone was like, oh, you guys are the Slumlords of New Jersey, and it just stuck. So we worked with Mike Orlando from Adrenaline Mob on our last CD, and he's like, that's such a badass name. He's like, why don't you just call the CD Slumlords of New Jersey? I'm like, that's a great idea. So we did. So that was the last EP, Slumlords in New Jersey, and we put that out during the pandemic, and it was a huge success. We gained so many new fans from it, all around the world, which was crazy.
Yeah.
And we're just a bunch of guys from Jersey, and for us to get fans from other countries, it was an honor, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Oh, I bet. I mean, and it doesn't take much. You know what I mean? You
Yeah,
get on YouTube and you kind of think of YouTube as being like, okay, my friends are going to see this and our fans are going to see this, but the
yeah,
world sees it. You
yeah.
and I mean it's worked for me in the same way. I started out working with about 5 or 6 publicists here in the United States, and now I'm working with them from all over the world. I mean, I got Inverse Records from Finland,
Oh
Noble
wow,
Noble Demon Records from Germany. These are people that are sending me, constantly, just like the other publicists. They're sending me, bands every day, and it's like it's so overwhelming because I mean, I shit you not, right in my promotional um emails, I think I have in the last 3 days 180 emails of bands.
wow,
And it's like,
wow.
you okay, I'm just a single person. I'm not, this is, I
Yeah,
do this because I love music and I do it as a hobby. And, I mean, it's, it is a bit overwhelming, but I mean,
yeah.
it doesn't take much to get out there, man. I mean, I
Oh
don't,
yeah,
I don't have a shit ton of subscribers, but, I mean, it's my pleasure and my honor to talk to guys like you. You know what I mean?
sure, sure.
It just it really, I feel like any way that I can help to get you out there even more, then my job's been accomplished.
Oh yeah, we really appreciate it too. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. I've been on that side. My other life was a writer, for a newspaper called the Aquarian Weekly, which is a New Jersey music newspaper.
Oh,
So
okay.
I've been on that side where publicists were constantly hitting me up. Hey, can you write about my band? And it led to me interviewing actual rock stars that I grew up listening to.
Right.
So now, fast forward, I go to school, and now I'm a public relations manager for some of the casinos down here in New Jersey. I got the public relations myself, so now I'm working on that side. So I
Right.
use those skills to help push my band, and you know, uh, it's been a godsend to have that skill.
Yeah, so I mean, hell, you've done it all, man. The PR side, the writing side, and now and the music side.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The music side's been in my blood since I was 18 years old. So
Now is I take it Rahway is probably not your first band.
no, I've been in quite a few. It's well, probably my last though. I hope.
Okay. I mean, I just curious because, like, I mean, it's some bands, man. I don't know, they keep the lineup and they roll. I mean, they'll make, like you said, your newest singer is a '90s kid, but I mean,
Yeah,
hell, that could have been, you guys was all the OGs, and now he joined.
yeah, Yeah, well, sure. I mean, these the story behind the Cardenas brothers, though, I've known them. I've played in other bands where our bands have played together, and when their bass player decided to leave, and move to Florida, they're like, dude, we need you. We need a bass player. We love the way you play. You have the stage presence, exactly what we need for this band. And at first, I was like, do I really want to play with these guys? But then my guitar player Dave actually let me listen to a song called Yesterday, which
Hmm.
was on two records ago, and it's to me it's still one of my favorite songs that Rahway's ever done. And I heard our singer Nick's voice, and I'm like, ooh, this guy can sing. This guy's really good.
Yeah.
Might be one of my favorite singers so far, um, of any incarnation of Rahway. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Then I went down and jammed with them, and they never they won't let me leave, so I'm still here.
They're holding you prisoner, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
So have you always played bass or did you ever play any other instruments?
Well, my wife laughs about this, but when I first started, I actually tried to be a singer, but I'm really a shower singer. I'm terrible. So I picked up the bass, 4 strings, nice and easy. Nikki Sixx was one of my favorite, musicians of all time, and one of my favorite performers of all time, and I guess you could say he's my idol. Uh, not too happy with the way he's treating McMars these days, but he's my idol, and
Yeah.
uh, and then I just played the bass from there on out, and it's I'm not one of those guys that like Steve Harris where he's like running all over the bass, the fretboard and everything. I'm just a laid back bass player in the
Right.
pocket with like Nikki Sixx. So
You see that thing that went down between him and Carmine apiece?
no, a new thing
Carmine kicked the shit out of him.
out of whom? Nikki Sixx?
Yeah.
When was this?
It's been a couple weeks ago, maybe a month. I seen it on like 90% of my Facebook is music. So
Oh,
I
I'll have
seen
to
it
look that up.
on there and they was talking about Nikki Sixx was waiting for him to come out of the whiskey a go go. And yeah, Carmine ended up hospitalizing him. Uh he twisted Nikki had like a twisted bow. I mean, messed up. And it's quoted in there that the doctor said, "Don't mess with two guys because oh, who's the other piece? Vinny.
Vinny? Yeah,
Yeah,
the two brothers.
yeah, he jumped in on it too, and but I guess Carmine beat him with a trash can and everything.
That's
I was
funny.
like, damn. So and these guys are in their 60s, man. I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, no, I know. I've met Vinny a few times. Vinny I met, not Carmine.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
great.
it's crazy, man. And that's like I said, the doctor made the comment of don't mess with two guys from New York named Vinny and Carmine.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
So your guys' album is coming out in the fall.
Well, what we plan on doing is releasing. We have 6 songs.
Right.
We're planning on releasing them, spreading them out, and releasing them as singles first.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we release them all, then we'll put it out as a record, like an EP, that we
Mm-hmm.
can sell it at shows and stuff. The tentative title right now is "Sounds of Spanktown," and this and I know that sounds funny, right? But the story behind that is that, and we just found this out, that Spanktown was the name of Rahway back during the Revolutionary War.
Oh wow.
So like during the Revolutionary War, I guess the generals and stuff, there was actually a battle. If you look it up, it's called the Battle of Spanktown. So Spanktown is the name of Rahway, which is perfect for us because we could just call the CD "Sounds of Spanktown."
I am gonna have to look that up, man.
It will mean something.
That is an interesting piece of history that I never knew.
Yeah, neither did I. I just found this out, and I'm a history buff too. So it's like, and I did a lot of research on the Revolutionary War, and I never saw that before. Our manager actually pointed that out.
Oh wow. So what about shows, man? You guys got anything planned or
Well, we just started working with a booking agent, and he is actually in the midst of putting some shows together for us. And I think we're coming out to Ohio,
okay.
so hopefully we'll be out there. And I think he's gonna try to route a tour for us from up there, working our way back down to this area.
Gotcha.
So, but we'll see. We'll see.
So I mean, live wise, what are you guys like? I mean, honestly, until I looked at the band picture, I thought you guys were like maybe a bunch of 19, 20 year olds jumping around on the stage and stuff. That's how that song sounds. I mean,
Yeah,
it's like I said, the beginning of it is just very punky. I was thinking, oh, this is cool. I like this because I mean, actual punk anymore is kind of faded out.
yeah. No one's doing it. Yeah,
But a lot of people were throwing some punk into their music,
right.
and I think that's you know it's really cool. And I feel like again, it's full circle. Punk could be back. I mean, look, you went from the Sex Pistols to what was the one that I used to listen to back in the day? Oh my God, they sang that song Rock the Casbah, The Clash.
Oh, the Clash. Yeah, yep.
Yeah, so the Clash, and then it kind of faded out, and then you had Green Day and stuff.
Yeah. Rancid. Remember Rancid? Yep.
Rancid, yep. So it didn't make its comeback, but like I said, man, it's a really catchy song, and I think that's really important. Whether you mean it to be catchy or not, uh,
Yeah.
because with people's short attention span these days, you need something that catches them, even if it's for like 30, 40 seconds.
Right.
You know,
No.
you got to catch them, and it's like with TikTok and these YouTube shorts. I mean, people are doing stuff in 60 seconds and they're getting millions of views, and I'm like, Lord.
Yeah. Well, I mean that. I mean, when we write our music, we try to have these big hooks
Right.
that just stick with you all the time. I mean, that's the whole arena rock recipe, right? I mean,
Yep.
back in the day, that's what you heard. I mean, like songs like Enter Sandman or something like that. Like you just remember those choruses.
Right.
That's the way we write. We write these memorable choruses that stick in your head for days. Wait till you hear the rest of the CD because there's like two or three songs where you'd be like, "Damn that Rahway! I can't get the song out of my head." So,
Honestly, though, I love them kind of songs.
right, right.
Uh,
I mean, as far as our live show, I mean, we're very energetic. My singer and I are just like all over the stage. The drummer is just like he hits so hard that it's just like you're like, wow, you could feel it in your balls. And then and my guitar player is just he's just amazing. Just I every time I listen to these recordings, I'm like, wow, I'm lucky to be playing with this guy because he's like that good.
yeah, he
Um,
is he is good. I like I said, the whole solo and the little mixes he threw in there
yeah,
were really catchy.
yeah, and we feel like we got to teach these 19, 20 year olds something because
Yeah.
they need to know what real rock and roll is, and it's not like constant screaming all the time. There's melodies to music.
Oh yeah. And I mean, it is becoming a thing again where solos are starting to come back.
Yeah, right.
For the longest time, you might have a little breakdown in the music or whatever, but you never really had the flashy CC DeVille or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah, right.
guitar solo, and they're starting to make a comeback.
Yeah,
And I feel like that's I mean, I grew up on hair metal, and I mean, I feel like it's a very important part of the music where I mean, I remember a guy telling me that he liked the music that didn't have guitar solos. He says because all guitar solos are is the guitar is showing off
going off. Right. Yeah, I
in
get
the
it.
song.
Yeah,
But it's kind of like the the breakdowns, okay, you're getting this stuff and then you're and then the music starts back up. Well, it's the same thing except for the guy's just playing, flashing on his guitar. And
yeah,
I mean, to me, I miss those things. I
yeah.
miss solos.
Yeah, I mean, you could blame Nirvana and Pearl Jam and those guys for like the not having the solos, which is weird because then you add like Jerry Cantrell, who's like one of the best guitar players in that genre, and he's like you want to hear him do solos and stuff. But then like yeah, they're starting to come back. A lot of the bands that are coming out now, they're adding solos to their stuff. Like the guys from Greta Van Fleet, they're adding solos to their music.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it's better. I mean, I don't think it's a show off. It's a part of the music, and as long as it's
Right.
done tastefully, like then again, like you get like you said, you know, you bring up Slayer, and you got Kerry King, who just was throwing in like these out of key like guitar solos that came out of nowhere. I
Yeah,
remember, South of Heaven. I remember hearing that guitar solo. I'm like, whoa, where'd that come from?
right.
But I mean, as long as they're tastefully done, and I think my guitar player Dave is like very tasteful with it. I mean, he's not. No one's gonna be Eddie Van Halen, but
Sure.
he could be a Mick Mars.
Nah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like it just, again, was a very well put together song. It was a good mix of um the arena rock, as you say. It had some kind of like maybe a little bit of the, I'm gonna say, late 90s, early 2000s feel to it, with the I wouldn't say unclean vocals, but like the crunchier vocals,
Yeah,
and then had the punk mixed in it. And I mean, it's just, if you can't, if you can't bob your head to that, then there's something wrong to you.
yeah, right,
Something wrong with it.
absolutely,
But
yeah,
I mean, and that's the point, man. I mean, it's, music is supposed to be enjoyed. It's supposed to be fun, and or other times it's supposed to make you feel emotions or whatever. But when you guys just throw out a song of carry, I carried you, you carry me, it's
yeah,
really cool. And I was like, man, that's I like the lyrics. I mean, it was a very well put together song.
yeah. I mean, when I found out what the song was about, I'm like, wow, this is actually thought it was. Actually thought it was about the guitar player and the drummer because they're brothers, and it's about someone carrying someone throughout life, and then not realizing that the other guy was the one carrying him the whole time through his life. So it's just like it sounded like it was like a biography, but it's not. It's not about anything in particular. It just sounded like it was.
Right, right. Well, and that's another great thing about music, man, is it's all about interpretation.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you can like know the reason and say, well, you know what, what do you think? Because
Yeah,
and I've had artists do that. I'm like, hey, well, what's this? What's the meaning behind the song? And they'll kind of give me like a little bit of a taste, but they're like, we want you to be able to feel how you feel about it.
yeah. But you pretty much had the gist of it when you were just explaining it to me. It's pretty much exactly what you said.
Right.
Um, and then we actually just shot a music video for it, so that should be coming out within the next like week or two. Um, we have a lyric video up for it now,
Right.
just as a placeholder. But we actually shot a pretty entertaining music video for so people can see us instead of like watching words go by.
Where'd you guys do that at?
We shot it at a warehouse. We found this old warehouse that was available, and we asked them if we could shoot in there, and they let us. So we doctored it up to make it look like a studio, and just all dusty and cruddy looking, and we have some sort of monster chasing us down throughout this warehouse, and it's like a Scooby Doo take of our song.
I like that. Did you guys do the actual video yourselves, like the production of it, or did you have friends or something?
Well, usually we have our manager. He's really good at video editing, so we have everything done in house. He comes in, shoots all different angles. We just recently added a friend of ours to the mix, and he's been very creative. He actually plays the demon in our video. So,
Okay.
um, but he we do everything in house. We actually are hiring Mark Weiss, Guy Weiss, who did all the '80s like album covers, do a
Mhm.
photo shoot for us in the coming weeks too. So that should be cool because we'll have a legend shooting us.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, it's again, the new age, man. I mean, because I talked to, you remember the band Steelheart?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, yeah, I talked to Mila, their singer. I did an interview with him, and we was talking about the video for can't
Never let
stop
you go.
can't stop me loving.
Oh, okay, okay.
And he's like, yeah, I remember that one. That cost like $250,000.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, now, you could go out and buy $1,000 camera, and somebody who knows to use it, how to use it, and maybe $150 software or even free software,
Yeah.
and you can make just as good video.
You use an iPhone now. That's
Yeah,
a,
I mean it is. It's crazy, and but I mean it's that's where things kind of get me, man. Is I'm a very nostalgic guy.
yeah.
I miss my hair metal. I miss cassette tapes. I miss MTV. I miss Headbangers Ball.
Yeah.
You
That's
know, and it's like um back then it was so expensive for musicians to do that kind of stuff.
yeah.
And now, you can do it for a fraction of the cost. Um, you can pretty much distribute yourself.
Yep.
You don't have to have, Atlantic Records or any of them guys behind you. You can do it all on your own. It takes money and hard work.
Yep.
The
Well,
downside of that though is that back in the day, those 250, $300,000 videos were getting you recognized everywhere. I mean,
right.
you could walk down the street and somebody be like, "Oh my God, look there," and also you was making money off of the physical copies, the records, the
Yep.
cassettes, CDs, whatever. And now it's streaming, and I've heard from a lot of artists that streaming pays like pennies on the dollar.
Yeah. Yeah. You're making your money on the touring for sure and the
Right,
merchandise.
right.
But I interviewed Gene Simmons one time, and I said, what kind of advice do you have for a young budding artist? And he told me, he goes, forget chasing for the big record deals. He's like, they're no longer around. You're not going to get a big record deal.
Right.
Do everything yourself. He's like, and look at him. He's the one of the best marketers in the world, right?
Oh yeah.
And he said, just do everything yourself. This way you own everything. And then look what happened to, like you said, all the records are now digital.
Mm-hmm.
So we make CDs to sell at like shows because sometimes fans actually want something in their hands. But is
Yes.
there CD? Are there CD players anymore? You know,
Yeah. I actually beside me have an old Victrola record player
there you go. Oh, those are nice.
that I just bought. Yeah, I mean, here I'll hold it up for you to see. It's like um nostalgic as shit, man. And this is just like I'm like, man, this is what I'm talking about. But like, yeah, if it hold on,
I
my
can't really.
yeah, my background's gonna get in the way. Shit, I can't do it.
Yeah,
It's wooden. It's got the old style dial on the front.
yeah, that's
Uh,
nice.
and I bought it from freaking Walmart for like $100. And I got some my wife originally bought me one and it quit working, and I got this one. She bought me like oh, what was it? Leonard Skinner, Led Zeppelin, the Eagles. I bought one of Jimmy Buffett called Songs You Don't Hear on the Radio.
Yeah.
I got one signed by the band Saliva, which is
Oh,
cool.
that's
Wayne just passed
yeah.
away.
Just passed away. Yep. Yep.
And then this band New Monarch out of Akron, Ohio, I just bought one of theirs. And I try to do that whenever I go to a live interview. You know,
Yeah.
I'll buy a shirt, I'll buy a hat or whatever. That way I'm kind of contributing to, you know, as Adrian Patrick put it from Otherwise, your gas money.
Yeah. That's. I'll tell you what. I mean, that's basically what it comes down to. I mean, that's why this whole Motley Crue, like Mick Mars thing, is really important because he's getting screwed out of money that he should be making because he was a part of the band, but he retired from touring, and that's where Motley Crue makes their money, on
Right.
touring. So that's essentially that's what bands are doing right now because they're not making money from a record deal. There's no records out there. You're making pennies to the dollar on streaming.
Right.
Which, by the way, Carry You I think just hit 13,000 streams today. So that's yay for us.
Nice. Yeah.
So that's $13 in our pocket.
How's that split up between all you guys?
I don't know. I mean, we could buy a Coke or something.
Right.
But I mean, that's where it's at. Merchandise and touring and just playing shows. Because the better the music you put out there, the more fans you'll have, and they're the ones who are going to be buying your stuff. So
Right. Yeah, and I mean it would be nice if it did still work the same way as it did before. And it, you never know, it may. I mean, a lot of bands are pressing vinyl and it's making a comeback. I mean,
Yeah, no, it is
my
absolutely.
18-year-old stepdaughter has she got her record player first for Christmas, and that's why my wife ended up buying it for me because I was like, dude, I love this. Why didn't you get me one? But I mean, she's got Billie Eilish and stuff
Yeah,
into. Well, her grandma gave her a bunch of the smaller ones.
the 45s.
Yeah, that you can like of Hank Williams and
Oh,
Loretta
that's cool.
and stuff, and she'll jam those. I mean,
That's cool.
she's very broad when it comes to music. I mean,
Yeah.
she's got her favorites, but who don't? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I told my wife, I'm like, you know what? There's nothing like hearing that needle hit that record. And then there's that, but then there's also the CDs, like opening up a CD and smelling the just the paper, right? Do you remember that? Like
Yep.
getting a CD for the first time. Like I remember when Dr. Feelgood first came out, and I went to the record store, bought it. The smell of that paper and on the CD smelled amazing.
See, I actually had the cassette.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I had the cassette too,
I
actually.
love cassette tapes, man, because you could open up that jacket and read all
Yeah,
the lyrics. You could read the
the
freaking
liner.
and what's funny is I shit you not, quite a few times, I'd be jamming to a song and I'm reading the lyrics. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not what they just said.
Yeah, I've done that. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that. Yep.
So yeah, it's I mean, and that's always kind of like, you play bass and
Yep.
your band plays their instruments, your singer sings, but I could never really I didn't have the patience, I feel like, at the time, or the person that was teaching me was not a very good teacher. But guitar, and drums, I tried, and I'm just a fan of music, man. I mean, I wish to God that I could get up and play, drums like Mike
Right.
Portnoy or Neil Peart or something like that, or guitar like Eddie Van Halen. But this is my way into the business. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yep.
And this is it's meaningful to me to talk to you guys. And when you've done interviews, so you know what I'm talking about here is like, back in the day, interviews were so straightforward. Like,
Yep.
well, did you do this? Did you do that? And I try to, okay, we'll talk about your music a little bit, but that's why I call it Let's Talk Music, because I just like to
Yeah.
talk about music.
Right. Sure.
And
That's
that was my wife's whole thing of getting me to started doing this, because she's like, you tell me all this information about these bands and you tell me this and you tell me that, and I'm glad you know all this, but I'm not into it like you. Why don't you start a blog? And of course, me, I went big or go home. So
yeah. No, I mean, hey, you're not the only person I've heard that from. There's a lot of interviewers that I've spoken to who were like, oh, I don't even play music. I'm just a huge music fan, and they know, and just like you, they know a lot about music. They know a lot
right.
about it, but they just don't play it. That's why when I do interviews, since I'm a musician and I know what these guys are doing when they're writing the songs, and you
Mm-hmm.
know, we have this rapport. So like my interviews end up being like an hour and a half because these guys are we just talk music, like the name of your
Right.
show is talk music. So I could go on for hours talking. I could go on for days talking about music because it's just something I love. I have a passion for, and I luckily I found four other guys that have that same passion.
And
Three
that's
other guys.
yeah, I mean, and it takes that passion, it takes the camaraderie, it takes the patience. I mean, people, I don't think a lot of people realize what it goes in, how much work it is to be in a band.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
It's like being in, an extended family home, you know what I mean? But living with your brothers and your cousins and shit,
Yeah,
these are people that you're going to be with day in and day out, and it's like, man, you just don't understand. These guys are, especially like back in the day when they was doing like, 2-year long tours, and you're
yeah,
like, man, these guys are spending so much time together. That by the time they get back, they're ready to kill each other.
yeah. It's like a marriage. It's really. Do you remember the band Spread Eagle?
Yeah.
So I played bass for the singer Ray West in his solo band,
Okay.
and me we I was in in a band that invited him to be a part of our band. So he looks at us, he goes, "Oh, so you want to get married?" We're like, "What?" He goes, "You want to get married?" So we formed a band called Hostile Inc. And it lasted maybe a year or two. We did some touring. We did some great things. We opened for Trickster's like reunion tour and stuff like that. But I mean, it's a marriage. At the
It
end
is.
of the day,
It
it's a
really
marriage.
is.
That marriage fell apart after 2 years. But um, you know,
I agree, man, because if you look at it like a lot of, well, again, Motley Crue and Mick Mars, let's go with Skid Row and Sebastian Bach. I mean,
yeah,
the
yep.
the divorce is messy.
Oh yeah, that's one of the messiest ones.
Hmm.
I'm friends with both sides. I know Sebastian and I know Snake and Rachel, um, and they're never going to get back together.
Oh, I know, I know. I
Everyone keeps asking, and they get Skid Row's got this new guy Eric who sounds like Sebastian, and he's really really good, and they're happy with him. So
yeah.
and Sebastian is he's doing his own thing. He's making his own money. I mean, why fix what's not broken?
Hey, I tell you what, man, I seen Skid Row back in the day. Let me see. I seen him on Subhuman Race. I also seen him on
That was
Slave
a great record.
Slave to the Grind.
Well, both those are my
Yes.
two
Well,
of my
Slave to the
favorite.
Grind is one of my favorite. The song
Yeah,
Quicksand Jesus in a Darkened Room,
yeah,
Business. I mean, you can't go wrong with that album. I
yeah.
mean, and
Sebastian actually always makes. You were talking about like music videos before, and he like always talks about the budget for the Monkey Business music video. He always
oh
like
yeah.
jokes about it.
Yeah, I mean that one, Wasted Time. I mean that Skid Row put out some great music, man. And I am one of those that's like, yeah, it's Sebastian. I'm behind him, but and not on the same sense. I've read the articles, I've listened to
Yeah,
Rachel and Dave talk on XM, and I get where they're coming from. There's bad blood, and sometimes bad blood just can't be erased.
yeah, right. And I think from what I understand, Sebastian did him dirty too. So it's like I actually was talking to Zach Wild one time, and we were talking about the whole reunion, and Zach's like, guys, you know, you can live in a mansion if you just get back together with Sebastian, and you can have all this money. You can get paid millions of dollars if you guys ever got back together.
Hmm.
And Rachel says, I'd rather live in a box down by the river than ever get back with Sebastian Bach.
I read that.
And I'm like, what?
Yep.
I
All
mean,
right.
they can literally make millions if
Oh
they got
yeah.
back together.
Well, brother, we're about out of time. I don't have the pro version of Zoom, or I could go on for hours with you.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
But yeah, man, I'll get this edited up and send it to you, and you
Yeah, I
know,
hope you got a lot of good stuff.
shoot me an email, man, or whatever. Just get with Allison, and we'll chat some other time.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds good. Or find me on Facebook, just under Tim Louie.
All right, brother. Well, you have a good evening, and thank you so much for being with me.
Thanks for having me, Matt.
All right, later.